you a couple of other directions that your spine can move. So side bending to the left, you can either call it side bending or lateral flexion and go the other direction. So we're just laterally flexing from one direction to the other. You can add your arm with this, so laterally flex and reach your arm overhead. Good, switch sides, lateral flexion to the right, reach that arm overhead. Go one more time to either side. And then we're going to do spinal rotation. Just standing as you are, you can look over your right shoulder and look over your left shoulder while you're moving your whole waist. You can even pivot on that opposite foot a little bit. And your neck is part of your spine, so you're turning your head as well. I'm going really slowly, but I also really have been loving, as Ryan has so conveniently placed this duster, I've been really enjoying just putting like a broom or a dowel around my neck and just doing like in place. So most of us have a broom. So your one piece of workout equipment for the warm-up is your broom or some sort of stick from around the house. And I would say you can do this. I wouldn't jump to doing it like fast, but do like 50. Just sit there and do 50 rotations, and it feels really good. All right, and it really helps the mornings go better, if you know what I'm saying. Okay, so that's it for our warm-up today. Some directions of movement for your spine.
So we went over all of the different directions of movement because today's movement focus is going to be on our lower body pulling pattern, also known as a deadlift, also known as how you get stuff up off the floor. It's one of the most functional things you'll be asked to do, and we started going through all the different motions because there can be, especially for older folks, a lot of what I'm going to say is fear-mongering about like what position you're supposed to be in to pick up stuff off the ground, like what muscles you use, like don't do it if your back hurts, and like all sorts of nonsense. So hopefully by the end of this you feel more confident in that pattern, and you've also got an understanding of like, yes, your spine can bend and flex and rotate and dip, and all of these things are totally cool. We're going to talk about the mechanics of the deadlift, which is going to ask that you, for now, hold one consistent position with your core. So last week we did some stuff in the plank position for our push-up, and that same concept of a strong torso is going to apply for our deadlift. So the most basic part of your deadlift is called a hinge. So before we get into the hinge, let's look at a movement we do know. Last week we did the squat. And the squat is knee bending at the knee and bending at the hip about even. The angle at Maggie's knees close, the angle at Maggie's hips close to stand. So today we're going to hinge. So the angle at the knee is going to stay pretty static, and you're just focused on the angle at the hip. And what we want to focus on here is in this bottom position, if Maggie's hinging, her torso is nice and strong from one end to the other. So rather than bend and curl and round, we want to try and find a nice flat position. So the way we're going to start with that hinge, very nice, I like that everybody's gotten into it, is you're going to take one hand, doesn't matter which hand, it's not important, put it on your belly. The other hand is going to go in the small of your low back, if you can get it there, or something like approximate to that, just to give you a sense of this position. You're going to put a little bend in the knees, and you're going to stick your butt to the wall behind you. Coming down, you should feel some tension in the hamstring. and then come on back up. Right, we're going to start by just keeping the range of motion pretty small here. And then we'll talk about some variations in a second. So do 3 more like that so I can come take a look at everybody. Nice, and then relax. So one thing that it looks like just about everybody's got, and by nature of being in an indoor space, you have, even if I can't necessarily tell that you have, is a wall. And you can use a wall to be a good reference point to make sure that you're really sending your hips backwards in space rather than just down, which is part of the direction, but only half of it. So you can set up, especially if you don't quite feel it in your hamstrings yet, a couple of your full footsteps away from a wall like Maggie's doing, and actually try and get your butt to sit into the wall and then come back up to stand. So if you have a wall that's accessible, whether or not you stay on the screen is not super important right now. Go ahead and give that a try for a couple of reps. If you're very mobile, nice Heather, you can actually play around with being further from the wall and see if you can still reach it in that hinge position. So Sarah, at the bottom, there's only one Sarah today. Okay, yeah. Just had to check. You have a tendency to lose tension as you go down. I want you to squeeze everything up like you're, yeah, there you go. You, like, be as much like a board as you can. There you go. That's much better.
Oh, great, yeah. Mm-hmm. Sarah, Heather's really letting herself fall into the wall.
Yeah, no, that's great. I mean, ultimately, that's like, you want your weight balanced on your feet, but you should be shifting backwards, so that's good. Okay, go ahead and relax. So we're going to work on that pattern in our workout today, but there are a number of options for setup that we'll go into so that people can then find the appropriate accoutrement for them. In some ways, your most typical deadlift position is going to be the suitcase or grocery bag deadlift, right? You go to the store, you get a bunch of stuff, or you're off traveling. You may only have one bag and it's on the one side, but it works the same whether you've got a bag in each hand or not. Strong core position. These weights are very low to the ground, so this is going to be a deeper deadlift than you will necessarily do. I'm going to shift my hips back, keep that strong position, bring the weights up at my side. Nice and strong, squeezing the shoulder blades together so that they don't round. Shifting my hips back. And come back down. You'll notice that to get to the ground, I'm bending my knees a little deeper. That's what essentially you end up having to do unless you have very, very mobile hamstrings. And we're not going to worry about that variation today. So when we go into our workout, you can use any two objects. Like I use weights, but you can use whatever you've got, a couple of books.
Let's demo some potential things to see what it looks like. Let's see.
Cans, pillows, yoga blocks.
I'm going to use these 2 yoga blocks. Okay, so they're not heavy, but I keep that position. So take a look around your house. Maybe you get 2 shoes, 2 empty flower pots, because there's for some reason many empty flower pots in my house. The reason is because I can't keep plants alive. But so cans of soup. All right. So
if you have trouble with 2 objects, if you have a broomstick, this will also work. You will hold it in both hands.
Okay. The Zija's got some books. Ooh, Heather's got some dumbbells.
Yeah, I was like, I'm pretty sure that looks like a weight.
Perfect, Lisa. Yeah, no, those Heather got those weights off of somebody. I remember she said, "And Mary, you got something in your hands." Perfect. Super.
Yeah.
Great. Good listening.
Yeah,
We have one of everything that we said. Perfect.
Yeah, we were basically just being nosy at the moment. Okay, so leave those weights for now. Perfect. We're coming back to that in a
Sandra,
second.
you're just like deadlifting away over there. What are you using? Okay, great.
Yeah, so leave those. They're on standby. The other movement we're going to do is called a pullover. So we're doing this movement to try and start to simulate upper body pulling. So like your pull-up or hanging would be the most traditional expression of this. But I'm not going to require that everybody have something they can hang off of in their house. Though I do highly recommend they make really great door hanging pull-up bar options, but we'll talk about hanging a little bit more.
That's like, we hope that by the end of this y'all have
You're inspired.
I'm putting a link in the next email.
Oh, okay.
So, but
see, we're learning new things here together. But the pullover is essentially going to start to work your muscles on the back, on the upper half of your body.
Are you gonna do this laying on the floor?
Yeah. So the deadlift sort of focuses on your glutes and your hamstrings, and the pullover is going to do your upper back. I'm going to show it to you on the ground first. If that is available to you, that should be the first variation that you try. If there is a limitation, or for whatever reason you don't want to do this workout, this movement laying on the ground, Maggie is going to show a standing or seated variation of the same movement.
Do you want the weight or the block?
I'm just going to use the block for now.
Okay.
So, like I said, for the pullover, we're coming down to the ground. And essentially the idea is you're going to raise your arms over your head. They will be on the ground, but you won't see me, so that's why I'm doing this explanation now. And then you're going to pull it back. And the objective is to do it with straight arms, so you're engaging this big muscle, your lats, that run actually a very long way.
Why don't you do it, and Ryan's going to do it, and then you guys can copy, and I'll take a look, okay? And if you don't want to get on the floor, just wait, okay? That's fine. So go ahead. So she's going to bring the block overhead, and then back up to in front of her chest, but arms straight. Mary, I can't see you. Lisa, I can't see you. I'm going to trust. Okay, thanks, Mary. Zijas, go ahead, copy. I want to see that you're doing it. Are you going to... Okay, looks good, Heather. Okay, great. Great. All right, so then, if you're not going to the floor, you can do this same position just from your block or book or whatever outright. How far am I going?
Head through the window, so right there is good. Yeah. Excellent. And I would say similarly, so you may have heard Maggie ask me how far back she's going. So we're trying to go head through the window of the arms. If you have trouble sensing that, this is another place where you can use the wall for feedback. So you can stand a little bit in front of the wall, facing away, and reach the block back to the wall.
My shoulders are tight.
And come back over. This position, the overhead position in general, can be super challenging for people. So if it feels like a really deep stretch, nice, Sandra. That is
beautiful.
That is totally normal. Be aware for my folks who are standing, as you come into that overhead position, I want you to think about squeezing your core and squeezing your butt so that it doesn't turn into just your ribs taking you back.
Right. So it's not...
It should be your arms taking... Yeah. It's a very good exaggeration, right? We want to keep a nice stacked body like we talked about with the deadlift, and just let the angle of the shoulders change as far as you can. Nice. I lost Mary's arms altogether, which means I think she was directly overhead. So that's very good.
Yeah. Yeah. Looks good.
Very nice. Okay, so everybody can relax on both of those movements for the time being. Though those are our 2 movements for our workout for today. We're going to change up the format. So this week we're going to introduce what in functional fitness is abbreviated to AMRAP. As many reps as possible. So what that means is we're going to work for 5 minutes, and you're going to follow a pattern, which we'll go into in a second, and you're going to accumulate as much work as you can in the 5 minutes. Last week, for those who are here, we did an EMOM where there was a set amount of work in the minute, and you just rested the rest of the time. Today...
Lisa, I will email you last week's, okay? Or 2 weeks ago.
Last time, yes, not last week. This time, there's not going to be set rest like there was last time. It means you get to practice self-regulating and taking breaks in the movements where it feels appropriate for you. Here's our format. 5-minute clock. You're going to do 1 deadlift with your weight or your blocks or your cans, and then 1 pullover. So that means you will put the weights down after the deadlift, get down on the ground if you're doing that. If you're standing, you can just switch objects and then do your pullover. Then you're going to do 2 deadlifts.
And don't feel rushed if getting to the floor is like slow, but you want to get to the floor, like that's fine, right? Like getting up and down from the floor was part of our workout last time. So it can be part of the workout.
And it is.
If it makes you dizzy or like you're actually going to fall down and going up and down and you want to choose to stay standing, that's a different story.
Yes. And you can start one way and part way be like, that's enough. I got up and down off the ground 3 times during this. I'm good. Now I'm going to go to the standing pullover variation.
But sorry, I interrupted. It's 1 and 1.
1 and 1. 2 deadlifts, 2 pullovers. 3 deadlifts, 3 pullovers. We get the pattern now. 4 deadlifts, 4 pullovers, and the number just increases round by round until we run out of time. So we may all end up in different places numerically by the end of this workout, and that's totally fine. The goal is to get you familiar with all of these positions and start to feel strong through the big muscles of your posterior chain, which control all of these actions. And to make you get up and down off the ground a little bit.
And so, like, even though it says as many reps as possible, don't let the as many reps as possible make you move too fast that you're losing integrity in the movement. There's no need.
For real. I trust that you all have sense for that, but it is worth saying explicitly. We sometimes train with crazy people who need to be told explicitly.
Like, that's not even a rep anymore, so stop. Okay.
Before we hop into this, are there any questions from anybody that we can help clarify what we're doing? You can you do in fact have to unmute yourselves. I think.
No, I can. Oh, I think yeah, you do actually. Does anybody have a question? Raise your hand. Okay. So, 1 deadlift, 1 pullover. 2 deadlifts, 2 pullovers, and so on, at your own pace. For how long?
5 minutes.
So we're going to have a timer on. Okay?
I lost my phone.
Okay. So Ryan's going to put the timer on. We will do it and shout some things, and Ryan, I'm sure, will notice if anything doesn't look ideal and maybe correct. We're starting with deadlifts unless you've chosen otherwise. You can do pullovers first. Your body, your choice. So
yeah, as long as you alternate, we're good.
Yeah.
Also, it stops making sense altogether if you don't alternate. Okay, everybody stand by. 10 seconds, and we're officially on the clock. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Let's
Go. Flip darn you.
Make the camera angle a tiny bit down.
Tiny bit down.
this would have been a good Turkish get up day.
Oh yeah. we can discuss progressions at a later date. Right, so the first couple of rounds through should go pretty quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Right, because 1 and 1 and 2 and 2 aren't going to take very long. But then once you get into the bigger sets...
This is a good opportunity to use getting off the floor without your hands if you want to play with that. So I'm on 3 and 3. How you doing, Lisa? Is she just there, or is she bending over?
Yeah, I don't keep up with dancing very well.
I don't keep up with the dancing very well. Yeah, just take your time. I mean, you've had a one-on-one where I've taught you how to deadlift, so you have the benefit of just take it slow. The most important thing is sending your hips back, stand it up. Good.
How far in is it? Like a minute?
A minute and a half.
Okay.
We're about a minute and a half in. I tried to make the clock bigger. It didn't work. Nice. The pullovers look good. Right, so reaching behind you. Really nice control on the pullovers in the Zija household. Nice, Sandra.
Halfway there.
Just like that, you're halfway there already. So now you can come back up. Yeah. Quiet now. Right, as you end up moving through your space, as long as we can see you a little bit, it's okay. Not everybody's going to be all the way visible all the time. Always look behind you if you're doing pullovers laying on the ground.
Oh, is Heather using the dumbbell for this? The pullover?
I will tell you next set.
Yeah. I realized maybe how to hold it would have been nice.
Nice, she's got a block of it. So.
Okay.
See, I bet you didn't even know you could do all these things with yoga blocks.
1 minute.
You've got 1 minute left to work.
Yeah, Angar yogi people do everything. Use yoga blocks for
Oh, that's true.
almost anything. So.
Yoga blocks and chairs. I've done some things on chairs in Iyengar that
Yes.
I know in a different context that sounds funny, but nice. Continuing to move well. Feeling some tension through your core and your hamstrings. In all likelihood, this will be your last movement because there's 15 seconds left.
Woohoo!
But if you want to hit a quick transition to get into the next one, you can. 3, 2, 1, and relax. Good job, everybody. How are we feeling? Oh, I guess now you have to be unmuted to answer that.
Yeah. I mean, I got thumbs up from folks, so.
I'll take that.
You can unmute yourself if you have anything to say. If you're content with thumbs ups, that's fine. But all right.
I have a question.
Yes.
On the deadlifts, I realized I didn't really know what I was supposed to. I mean, you go down and get them, you come up, and then you go down and get them, you put them down, and then you stand up, or do you just?
Oh, you can keep them in your hands for all the reps.
Okay.
So I saw you switching, which is like not a bad practice. It basically just means you were doing like one loaded rep.
So you were doing this?
Yeah.
That's fine. But
Okay, but I could just keep on going.
correct. The first one is like usually lower. Right?
Yeah.
Just generally when you're using bigger weights.
Yeah.
You can just keep it in your hands the whole time.
Okay, gotcha. Thank you.
Good question.
Do you maybe want to show doing it with a weight?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's our workout. We are done, okay? But Ryan is going to show you how to hold a dumbbell to do this for yourselves. For those of you who are interested, there's Cece taking a little nap. Oh wait, I just moved the other camera. But so Ryan's going to get a dumbbell to demonstrate. If you're, ideally, I know Heather, you have dumbbells, you are progressing to use weight, right? Right now the soup can and the book were good for the workout today, but ideally we would like a little heavier weight. So for the pullover, what are you going to do, the deadlift or the book?
Either way, I can do it.
So for the pullover, if you have any dumbbells in your house, even if it's a 3-pound, whatever, start playing with using a little weight. But you can hold it on either end of the dumbbell, okay? To pull it, to let it come down and pull it back overhead, okay? Yes, Heather, good. And that might feel a little much for you right now. How does that, I'll let you have your hands free to tell me how that feels. But yeah, that's the one thing I wanted to leave off with. And
Can I add a thing?
Yeah.
On the pullover. So if you, this dumbbell is a pretty thick diameter. If you're starting with something smaller,
like the little guys.
the little guys, you can use your block as a target. So that, I don't know if I put that in the right spot.
Yeah.
So that
So
it,
the
it
floor
will
isn't so
stop
far
you.
away.
Especially if your shoulders are kind of tight. It doesn't have to be a block like a pillow, a book will do, but I think everybody's got blocks. So.
Yeah, so even if it's a little small, and also if it's just a slightly bit too heavy, that end part, getting it out of there is hard. So bring the floor closer to you. Okay. So what I'm going to recap is the fact that the last time we did squats and push-ups. And now, thanks Zija over here demonstrating.
Yeah.
And we learned an imam. Okay, and today you did deadlifts and pullovers in a different fashion. I am going to email like I did the last time, so that this way, maybe if you're feeling excited, creative, you can mix and match the things. Maybe, right? You say, oh, last time we did an imam with squats and push-ups, I'm going to do an imam with deadlifts and pullovers, right? Like you can now, maybe you're not there yet, but think about starting to blend things, okay? But I will summarize what we did today so that you can just repeat it again a couple times and also start doing the one you did the last time and the one you did and this week, so that now you'll have 2 different workouts to do over the next couple of weeks. Got it? Okay. Anybody have any last words?
What day is the next day?
The next one is Sunday, December 15th. Okay? Be there. If in the meantime you have any questions, if you're like, I want to do weights for the deadlift, but I feel like I didn't understand, is it too low? Whatever. Just feel free to text, call, do a little short, send a video, I don't understand, to her.
If you
Okay.
send it to Maggie, I'll get it. So
Yeah.
it's not the end of the world.
Yeah, okay? So please feel free. That is the point of this. I'm very happy to hear that some people were actually doing it in the meantime, because it means a lot that we're doing this for you and you're following through. All right?
One more thing.
Oh,
and then really by your homework for next time is you should have something with some weight to it of any kind. Like jug of water, dumbbell, like King James Version of the Bible, something with a little bit of weight.
A book bag with weight in it?
Would be fine too.
Okay, I'll email. That will also be in there. What you need for the next time, some ways to make it happen. Okay? All right, guys. Wonderful.
Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Happy Thanksgiving. We'll see you in 2 weeks. All right? Have a good night.